All right, so in this part, we're going to set up with React Query. So as you can see right here, we're using the latest React Query, and which is v5. So right now you can go into the documentation. And so right here, we can scroll down to get started and then go into installation. And this is how to install it. So I'm going to use with npm. So I'm going to copy from this one and then open my Visual Studio Code. And then I can paste this one right here. So now it will import for me. And right here, I'm going to create the query provider, which is going to be query provider.tsx. So I will create a React query right here. So I'm going to do OFC, this one. And this one, I'm going to rename this one to query provider. And inside here, we're going to use a React query client provider. So which is going to be query client provider, which this one right here. And inside here, we're going to have the children's. And I think, yep, this one. And then we're going to pass this one as a prompt. And the children props types, this one is going to be, make sure I spell this one correctly. This one is going to be React Node. Okay. All right. So right here, it will need a client. So right now we need to create a React Query client. And so to do this one, we're going to create, this one is going to be as a state. Query client is going to be equal to use state. And then for this one, it's going to be a function that will return the new query client. Not this one, it's just new query client, okay, which is this one right here. And so we're going to give some option right here. So for the default option of this one, for all of the query, so what I wanted to do with this one is I'm going to set the style times to infinity, okay? So style time infinity. So this one, it means whenever you fetch a data, and then it will go into cache. And then if you want to refresh the cache, either you invalidate the query or you refresh the page. But if you do not set the style time to infinity, so every time that you go into the page, it will do the refresh. Okay. So I wanted to it all the way read from the cache, and so that's why I set infinity. So you can tweak this parameter right here as you need, depend on your application. And so for this one, I'm gonna pass this one to the client. All right, so I think the last thing that we wanted to do is to install the dev tool. So let's go into the dev tool right here, and then we can do the same thing, which is gonna copy this one. I'm using with npm. I can paste, I install, and to use this one, it's really easy. So we can copy this one, and then we can call it down here. So right here, I can paste this one, and to use this one, I can put it below this one. And so for initial, I'm probably going to with fall as well. Okay. So for the initial, it's open, it's fall. And right now, that's good to go. So right now, let's use this one inside our layout. And so I would like to wrap this one between our seams. So I'm going to go with the query provider, which is the component that we just created. And then we can put it between this right here. So it's auto input for me right here, which is from this one. And that's good to go. So right now, if we go navigate back into our localhost 3000, if we refresh this one, okay, I see there's something wrong, which is we use the use state right here. We need to convert this one into the use client. Great. So right now, if we go back here, localhost 3000, if I refresh this one, so you can see all good to go. We also see the icon from the React query right here. Since right now we do not fetch anything, there's no state right here. All right, so right now let's creating and fetch the user information and create a navigation bar for this one. Okay, so now I'm going to go into the layout. Let's go back into our layout right here. I'm gonna wrap this layout, and we're gonna pass the children inside. So for this one, I'm gonna set the max width of this one. So let's go into the max width of this one to the 6 pixels only, and the min height of this one into screens. and then we're gonna do a max auto to make this one to center. Let's do py10, and then we're gonna do space y of this one to 10 as well. I think the space y probably not needed. And right here, I'm going to create the navbar. So I import a navbar. So for that, let's go into create a navbar first. And let's go into the navbar.tsx and we can run our snippets right here. And let's hit save. And then let's do control dot. This will auto import for me. And right now, we should be able to see this one. If we navigate back, we should be able to see the navbar, and then we cap our max size of our layout right here. So right now, for the navbar right here, it's real simple. And then for this one, let's go with the H1 of the navbar. This is will be your logo. I'm gonna say logo or your name in here. Let's do text to this one to, let's say, XL, and then font this one to bold. And then this one is going to do flex, and then justify this one is going to be between, because if you wanted to push this one. And then let's do item center. And on the other side will be another one. It's going to be a profile component. So I'm going to do the profile right here. Oops. All right. So right now let's create a new component called profile.tsx. And then let's save this one. This one will do control dot. And right now, if we navigate back, we should be able to see this. Very nice. So as of now, our profile, I will render this one as a button, and then make sure that it's auto import from here. And this one as I think the variant of this one, I'm gonna choose this one as an not a link, but as an outline. And then we're gonna do with sign in. Okay. So you can see right now will be a link. So when we click, it will navigate to our auth page. So let's go that. I'm gonna wrap this one inside a link component. And then right here, so this one will import it from the next link, and the href of this one will go into the auth page. Very nice. So right now, if I go here, if I click, and right now it's go back in here. So when I click in here, it should go back to the home page. So let's fix this one. On our navbar, we can do our link as well. From next link, I can cut this one. Let's do the href of this one into our home page. So now I click here, it came here, and very nice. Okay, I think for the layout right here, it mess up a little bit. So maybe you can fix this one. But for now, I don't really care much about this one. So, okay. So now we're going to render this one. So we need to fetch the user information and toggle between the sign in right here with the user profile instead. All right, so for that, I'm going to create a hook to fetch the user. And so we can use React query. So this one, I'm going to create a folder called hook. And this one is going to be called use user. And then we can do .tsx right here. So we can run our snippet and this one. So for this one, we can use a query from here. And for our query, we'll need two things. So the first one is going to be a query key. And so this one is going to be called user. And another one is going to be a query function. Okay. Oops, I missed this one, query function. And this is going to be an async function. So right now we can do something like this. And then we're going to return this one back to our use user. So inside here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fetch the user sessions. So first we need to import Supabase is going to be equal to await Supabase. I think we need to create Supabase first. So this one I'm going to use the Supabase browser. So this will be a client's component, and make sure that I use the client right here. And so to get the session is going to be const. We're going to get the data, and this one is going to be await Supabase.auth.get session. Since we use the await right here, make sure we do the async right here. Nice. So right now from here, we can be able to get the session of the user. So we can check right here if the data.sessions.user, if there's a user. So right here, we need to fetch the user information. So, okay. So I need to fetch the user information from this one, from the profile table. So for this one, let's do that. So we're gonna do await Supabase dot from, and this one is going to be from the profiles table. And so as of now, we do not have the intelligence because we need to fetch the type from Supabase. I will do that in a moment. So right now, let's try to finish this first. And we're gonna do select this one, and we're gonna do select star. So this is gonna be equal. We're gonna fetch based on the ID, where it's gonna be the data dot sessions dot user dot ID. Okay, so we fetch the profiles based on the ID from our session. Okay, so from here we should be able to get the user information. So we're gonna get the data, which is gonna be the user. So we can return this one, and then right here we can return the user information data, which is the user. Maybe I can this one right here. All right, so right now if we hover on this one, we probably don't know the type of this one. So right now let's try to generate the type from of our Supabase, so then we can give a better intelligence, and then we can see the type of the result of this one. All right, so to get the type of this one, so we can go inside here, we can search for, let's say, Supabase, and then it's going to be generate types, and the first link right here. So first you need to install this one, or you can run this one. So I'm going to copy this one, and then let's go and run this one right here, Supabase login. And this, if it will automatically like import and install the package, and just press enter right here. So you can see I press enter, it's automatically logged in for me. Nice. So the next thing that I wanted to do, I need to run this command, and I can paste right here. So right here I need to create a folder. So this is when we generate the type, it will live inside the libs types supabase.ts. So right now I need to create a folder for that. We have the libs right here, and then so we need to create another folder called types, and then we need to link our with the project, so which is this one right here. So to get the project graph, you can go into your Supabase and go to settings, and then this is your reference ID. Click copy, and then you can paste right here. And now when you press enter, so this will create the file, and then you will see the type up right here. Okay, and so to use this one, you can go into the Supabase browser, and then we can go and reset the database, which is this one. So you can see this is import from our types, and you can do the same things for our server right here as well. So database. And okay, nice. So whenever you change, so for example, whenever you change something inside your table right here, or any schema or any function, if you change any column, you need to rerun the command, this command again, so in order to fetch the latest types, otherwise you will lose. So right now, if we hover on the data, so you can see this is the information that we get, and as you can see right now, it will result in the array. So because this one we want only a single only, so we can do dot single. And now we should be able to have this data. So what happened if it's fail? So what happened if we do not have a session? So for now, I'm gonna to return the same things of this one, but with a null value. So, and for here, let's say init user is gonna be equal to this. And then I'm going to change this one to basically an empty string. All right. Okay, and now when we do not have any user, so we can return init user right here. So if we hover on this one, so when we call this function, so we will be able to get this information. Okay. All right, great. So right now we can use this one inside our profiles table, but profile component, not table. Let's go into profile. So we can use this one. So we can use user, and then let's do this one. So right here, so we should be able to get the is fetching, and another one is going to be data. So if we go navigate back inside here, I think it's okay. So I need to convert this one into the client component as well. It's gonna be use client. And now if you look at right here, so you can see we got the data, and if we look at the data, it's null. So because we need to log in. So right now, for example, if I'm logged in, for example, right here, I'm logged in with Google, this one. So it redirect me back here. And then if I click on this one, so you can see, okay, we do not have a data, which is weird. Okay, I'm not sure why we do not have a data. Is it? Okay, let's see. I see. So the reason that we do not have a data is because the profile table that we set up, we forgot to set up the policy for this one. And let's do that. So I'm gonna read this one. For now, I'm gonna be able to authenticate user, be able to read this one. And if you want them to read their own information only, you can set up that. But for now, my policy is like any authenticate user be able to read. And so for this one, let's click save policy. And if we go back in here, not this one, if I refresh. So right now I should be able to see the data. Okay, so there's something wrong with this one. Let's go in here and make sure, for example, if I click on console.log, the user information. Okay. Now, if I go into inspect and the console.log, if I refresh this one, so we got null. Okay. Not sure why we got null on this one. Is it like, what about this data? Okay, we got a session. So you can see we do have a session, but for the user ID, somehow it's null. Okay, it's weird. So we got this ID right here, right? Which is this information, and which is exactly the same. So we fetch from that, but somehow we not be able to get the user information. Okay. Did I set something wrong? This is correct. With ID and the sessions at user ID. Yes. And if you look at the network tabs, if I refresh this one, okay, we got an error right here. Request multiple row and return. It's weird. I see. So because the policy that we set right here, it's wrong. And I'm gonna delete this one because I set up the policy for insert instead of read. I meant to use a template for insert, but the action should be do the read. And this one is true. And I allow only authenticate user to read this information. Then hit save this one. And if we navigate back right here, so we should be able to get the user data. If we scroll right here, so you can see this is the data information. Very nice. So right now, for this one, I can remove this console.log. Let's go into the profile. And so we can replace this one. So if it's fetching, I'm going to return an empty. So while it's fetching, it's return empty. So after it's not fetching, so we can say if there's a user, if data, let's say dot ID. If there's a data, maybe we can do not if it's not this one, so we can render. So we can render this one. Else we're gonna render, maybe for now I'm gonna add an H1 right here, which is going to be data dot okay, I think we need to do this one, and then this one is going to be, we're gonna render the data dot display name. Hit save. If we go back, so you can see we got the display name right here. Very nice. So instead of this one, so we're gonna render as an image instead. So for now, I'm going to render an image from next image. So we can have the source, and the source is gonna be data dot image URL, and then the all of this one is going to be the data dot display name. Okay, and we can do the question mark right here. I think for this one it can be null, so maybe we can do this. All right, and also this one as well, it can be null, so we can do this. And let's give the width of this one, I'm gonna give the width 50, height of this one to 50, and the class of this one to, let's say, round it to full. rounded full. All right, great. So right now there will be an error because we need to set up the host right here inside our next config. And so for that, let's go into next config. Let's go to image, and this one is going to be the, I think, remote pattern, and this is going to be an array of objects. So we're going to have the host name, which is this one, and the protocol of this one is going to be HTTPS. I think since we are here, we're going to add another one for our GitHub as well. So if we look at the other profile, which is going to be this one, right? I can copy the cell of this one. And this one is going to be avatar.com right here. I can copy this. I can remove and replace this one right here. Very nice. Alright, so right now, since we changed this one, so we need to restart our server. So let's go inside here. And then I am going to restart the server. So I can do npm run dev again. So now everything is ready. So let's go back in here. And let's try to refresh this one. And now we should be able to see this, but it did not. Okay. Profile, we display the image URL. Okay. Not sure why it's not displaying the image URL. Okay, now it's back. So because I think it's stuck with fetching. Okay, that look good. All right, so very nice. So I think for this one, maybe we can set the height of our navbar. So let's say I'm gonna give the height of this one to, let's say 20. Maybe, do we have height 20? Yeah. Okay. And now if we refresh this one, so you can see there's no chain or layout for our navbar. And for this one, we can give an animation when this one appear. So for that, let's go inside this one. I'm gonna go inside the Tailwind config. So let's add another keyframe animation right here. So we have this one. So I'm gonna give this one is gonna be called fade, and this one is gonna be prompt opacity and opacity 0, and this one is going to go into opacity 0. Not sure why we got this error right here. Opacity 1 right here. Okay. Maybe hover on this one. Number is not okay. Maybe yeah, this one should be number. It's not a string, right? Okay. Maybe they require it to be a string. I can do 1 right here. Okay. All right. So right now, that's good to go. Let's go back inside here, and let's go into our navbar profile, and this is where we're gonna render. So we're gonna do a class name. We're gonna do the animation. I think I forgot to register it. So which is right here, which this one is going to be fade, and we're gonna call the fade 1 second linear, and then it's gonna be forward. Let's save this one, and let's go inside our profile, and let's use it. This one is gonna be animation fade, and it's same thing for our image. Okay, so right now when we refresh this one, it will empty. So when it's appear, there will be a fade animation there. Okay, very nice. All right, so I think that's pretty much it. So in the next video, we're gonna implement the lockout and also do the page protection as well. So as you can see, the user is already logged in, but we can still be able to access this one. So this one shouldn't be able to access.